Welcome to our 2023 English Learner Progress Indicator, or LP, presentation. The presentation is brought to you from the Accountability Development and Policy Analysis Unit at the California Department of Education. My name is Irit Winston, and I will be co-presenting with Justin Lane. Today's session will be covering a short top-level review of the dashboard and a more in-depth review of the LP. For the 2023 dashboard, the California Department of Education is releasing a series of on-demand sessions, which will be short, accessible videos, which can be accessed anytime and will cover each of the state indicators in more detail, plus some other accountability information. Today's agenda includes an overview of the California School Dashboard, which we will refer to as that dashboard from here on out. Then we will cover all things LP, followed by a few frequently asked questions, some general rules about the dashboard, and finally, how to go about contacting or reaching us with your any and all of your dashboard questions. First, we will start with an overview of the dashboard. The California School Dashboard is an online tool designed to help communities across the state access important information about kindergarten through 12th grade. The dashboard reports how districts and schools are performing on multiple state and local measures that make up California's accountability system. A big question that may be on your mind is, what can I expect from the 2023 dashboard? Thankfully, 2022 was a big year of changes, and 2023 will be different, but most of it will be pretty familiar. The dashboard will still report local indicators and state indicators. The big change will be that the state indicators return to colors. The dashboard displays performance through 6 state measures. They are academic performance, which includes measures for both English Language Arts and Literacy, or ELA, and mathematics, English learner progress, chronic absenteeism, graduation rate, suspension rate, and college career indicator. The college career indicator is reported as a status-only indicator on the 2023 dashboard. How do these measures get a color? The measure of performance for LEAs, schools, and student groups on the dashboard is done by looking at 2 years of data. Current year data equals status. A comparison between the current and prior year's data equals change. It's the combination of status and change that determines color performance on the dashboard and is designated by receiving one of 5 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, or blue, with red at the lowest performance level to blue at the highest performance level. For the next section, I'll pass it over to Justin. Justin, take it away.
Thank you, Irit. Now we will go through the details of the English Learner Progress Indicator, or LP. What is the LP? The LP is a measurement of how well your district or school is moving current EL students towards English Language Proficiency, or ELP. The LP is based on performance on the Summative English Language Proficiency Assessments for California, or LPAC, and the Summative Alternate LPAC. Additionally, the LP is the only state indicator that focuses on one student group, the English learner student group. Finally, the LP status measures the percent of EL students progressing towards English language proficiency, and LP change measures the year-to-year rate of change of moving students towards English language proficiency. What is new for the LP? Well, there's a lot new for the LP this year. With 3 years of summative LPAC results, status change, and overall performance color reported for the dashboard for the first time since the 2017 dashboard. Districts and schools will once again receive an overall performance color for the LP. Additionally, for the first time, results from the summative alternate LPAC will be incorporated into the LP. Currently, there are only 2 years of summative alternate LPAC results, and as a result, the summative alternate LPAC in the LP status only for the 23 dashboard. Lastly, the methodology of the inclusion of the LPAC participation rate into the LP. This update to the methodology will treat schools and districts more equitable. After taking the summative LPAC, each student receives one of 4 LPAC performance levels. These 4 summative LPAC performance levels are then divided into 6 LP levels for the dashboard. Using 6 levels for accountability is intentional because it accounts for the average time students need to make progress towards gaining ELP in the LP. To show progress towards English language proficiency, EL students must increase at least 1 LP level from the previous year or maintain a level 4 from 1 year to the next. Example 1. A student in 2022 scored a level 2 high or 2H. In 2023, the same student scored a level 3 low or 3L. This student advanced 1 LP level. Example 2. A student in 2023 scored a level 2 high or 2H. In 2023, the same student scored a level 2 high or 2H. This student did not advance at 1 LP level. LP levels based on the summative alternate LPAC results. After taking the summative alternate LPAC, each student receives one of 3 designated summative alternate LPAC performance levels and a scale score. EL students taking the summative alternate LPAC have 2 paths to demonstrate progress towards ELP. Increasing at least 1 performance level on the summative alternate LPAC or maintaining level 3. Or scale score change of 10 plus or more from the prior year test administration. A test taker meeting either of these criteria will be counted as making progress towards ELP in the LP. With the 2023 summative alternate LPAC results, the CDA has 2 years of LPAC results to include into the LP. Since there are only 2 years of results, the summative alternate LPAC can only be used in LP status determinations. 3 years of results are required to incorporate it into change. There are 3 paths, as mentioned in the previous slide. An EL student can show EL progress on the summative alternate LPAC. Increase at least 1 summative alternate LPAC level from the prior year, or maintain a level 3 from 1 year to the next, or have at least a 10 plus scale score change from the prior year. Example, in 2022, an EL student taking the summative alternate LPAC had a scale score of 244 in kindergarten. In 2023, this EL student had a scale score of 359 in grade 1. The scale score of 244 in 2022 gets converted to 44, and the scale score of 359 in 2023 gets converted to 59. The difference was calculated between 59 and 44, a scale score change of plus 15. LP status measures the rate at which LEAs and schools are moving their EL students towards ELP. For example, Coatell High has an LP status rate of 66.7%. This means that 66.7% of the EL students enrolled at Coatell High during the LPAC testing window made progress towards ELP. The LP has 5 status levels. The cut scores for the status levels are as follows: very low, less than 35%, low, 35% to less than 45%, medium, 45% to less than 55%, high, 55% to less than 65%, very high, 65% or greater. Using the definitions of making progress on the summative LPAC and the summative alternate LPAC described in the previous slides, the LP status rate formula is as follows: number of EL students who made progress between 2022 and 2023, plus the number of EL students who maintained the highest performance level from the prior year, divided by the total number of EL students with prior and current year summative LPAC and summative alternate LPAC results. LP change measures the year-to-year rate of change. For example, change measures the LEA's ability to move their EL students towards ELP. As a result, change requires 3 years of summative LPAC results. The LP has 5 change levels. The cut scores for the change levels are as follows: decreased significantly, declined more than 10 percentage points, decreased, declined by 2 to 10 percentage points, maintained, declined or increased by less than 2 percentage points, increased, increased by 2 to 10 percentage points, increased significantly, increased by more than 10 percentage points. The LP change rate formula is as follows: current year LP status rate minus prior year LP status rate equals LP change. Every spring, current EL students are required to take the summative LPAC or the summative alternate LPAC. The purpose of the summative LPAC and the summative alternate LPAC is to measure an EL student's progress in learning English and to identify EL students' levels of English language proficiency. To ensure districts and schools are testing all of their EL students, the California Department of Education, or CDE, requires that they meet or exceed a participation rate of 95% on the summative LPAC and the summative alternate LPAC. Districts and schools that do not meet the 95% participation rate on the summative LPAC and the summative alternate LPAC and have at least 30 students enrolled during the testing window, February 1st to May 31st, will receive a modified LP rate on the California School Dashboard. For each district and school that does not meet the 95% target, the minimum number of students needed to reach equal to or greater than a 95% rate is determined. The resulting number of students will be counted as making progress on the LP status calculation. The modification to the LP will be reported on the 23 dashboard. Students who are counted as participating in the summative LPAC are EL students who log on to at least one domain in each composite are counted as participating in the summative LPAC. The oral language composite includes listening and speaking. The written language composite includes reading and writing. Similarly, for the summative alternate LPAC, EL students must be administered at minimum 1 receptive item, which include listening and speaking, and 1 expressive item, which include reading and writing, from anywhere within the assessment. Please note that a mark as no response is also considered a valid response and therefore counts as a completed item. The summative LPAC participation rate formula is the number of EL students who were tested on the 23 summative LPAC and the summative alternate LPAC, divided by the total number of EL students enrolled during the testing window. On the 22 dashboard, we reported status only and it had only one color, purple. The 23 dashboard has status and change, colors, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, the incorporation of the summative alternate LPAC into the LP, and the incorporation of the no progress methodology for the LPAC participation rate, and 5 change levels.
Thank you, Justin. Let's cover a few frequently asked questions. What grades are included in the LP? Grades 1st through 12th grade. Are reclassified fluent English proficient or RFEP students included in the LP? The answer is no. Who is counted as participating in the summative LPAC and the summative Alt-LPAC? For the summative LPAC, EL students who log on to at least one domain in each composite, for example, listening, speaking, reading, or writing, are counted as participating in the summative LPAC. For the summative Alt-LPAC, EL students must be administered at a minimum one receptive item and one expressive item from anywhere within the assessment. Please note that a mark as no response is also considered a valid response and therefore counts as participating. Our final question is, do RFEP students count in the participation rate? Sometimes. If the student who took the 2023 LPAC summative was reclassified before the end of the school year, they would be included. This is the end of the LP-specific information. If you need additional help, we've provided a few different resources with links in the note-taking guide. First, we have the LP webpage. It will take you from A to Z with everything you need to know about the LP and has lots of links to flyers, cut scores, or anything else you might need. On that page, you'll find a link to the 2023 technical guide, where we also have an LP mini guide available. Once the dashboard has been released and the school dashboard additional reports webpage has been updated, districts and schools can find LP data that is more specific than the data found on the dashboard. Justin is going to finish up our presentation with some general review of the dashboard rules.
Thank you, Irit. Let's now walk through some general rules about the dashboard. First up is the District of Special Education Accountability, or DSEA. The District of Special Education Accountability, or DSEA, rule is applied to all available state indicators for students with disabilities who receive special education services at another district or county office of education. These students will be sent back to the District of Residence, or DSEA, and included in the DSEA's dashboard. For example, the district where the student geographically resides is held accountable for the student's graduation outcomes, and the data is included in the District of Residence graduation rate indicator. Please note that this rule applies to LEAs only. All schools, including charter schools, are held accountable for all their students with disabilities. This rule has been applied since the 2017 for the academic performance measures and the 2020 reporting of the graduation rate and the CCI data on the CDE School Dashboard Additional Reports website. It was applied for all indicators starting on the 22 dashboard and will continue for the 23 dashboard and beyond. For more information, refer to the changes to the District of Residence Rule for Students with Disabilities flyer on the Dashboard Communications Toolkit webpage. Next, we want to clarify a rule about charter schools that is unique to the dashboard. Since charter schools are treated as local education agencies, or LEAs, under the Local Control Funding Formula, or LCFF, their data are not included in their authorizer's dashboard report. This includes both direct and locally funded charters. Finally, we want to go through what the accountability insights thresholds are and how they will be displayed on the 23 dashboard. We'll use LP as our example. If the in size is 30 or more students in the denominator, then the LP rate is reported on the dashboard along with status and change. In the first sample card, the LP displays yellow performance level or color with gauge pointing to the yellow color and the yellow along the top border. The card shows an LP status rate of 47.9% and a decline of 3.9% from the prior year. The number of students, or in size, is 3,684. Additionally, any LEA or school with more than 30 students in the denominator is held accountable for differentiated assistance at the LEA level and the Comprehensive Support and Improvement, CSI, and additionally a Targeted Support and Improvement, ATSI, at the school level. If the in size is between 11 to 29 students in the denominator, then only the LP status rate and change from the prior year is reported on the dashboard. In the second sample card, the LP displays no performance color with a grayed out gauge and an LP rate of 55%. It also reports an increase of 5% from the prior year. The number of students, or in size, is 20. Additionally, any LEA school with 11 to 29 students in the denominator is not held accountable for differentiated assistance at the LEA level or CSI, ATSI at the school level. If the in size is less than 11 students in the denominator, then no data is reported on the dashboard to protect students' privacy. In the third sample card, the student group displays no performance level with a grayed out gauge and no LP rate. The number of students, or in size, is not reported. Additionally, any LEA or school with less than 11 students in the denominator is not held accountable for differentiated assistance and at the LEA level and CSI, ATSI at the school level. There is an exception. If a district or school had at least 30 students enrolled during the testing period, but tested less than 95% on the summative and the summative alternate LPAC, the participation rate penalty will be applied in the current status calculation for these schools and districts.
Thank you, Justin. If those extra resources do not answer your remaining questions, as always, we are just an email away. As a reminder, our email is dashboard@cde.ca.gov. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter @CDE Dashboard. Thank you for watching this on-demand video about the LP. Again, please contact us if you have additional questions. Thank you.